Economic development happens all over the town of Barnstable. With me today, Mike Travato, Economic Development Specialist. Mike, there's like projects everywhere, some in the permitting stage, some in the completion stage, and things in between. We're going to take a walk around town, and how about you telling us kind of what's happening, maybe starting with the commercial areas?
Sure. Lots going on, as you said, Paula. We're starting with right on Route 132, one of our bigger projects that's been ongoing for a while, as people can see as they drive by there, is the Cape Cod 5 Operations Center, which they're anticipating occupancy late this year. That's going to include 200 new employees being moved into that facility, which is pretty excited about that situation.
Yeah.
Anyone who drives by the mall sees that that's under major renovations as well.
Right.
Target being the number one prospect that's going in there,
Right.
among others that is going
Right.
in there. You're going to see a lot of great changes for the mall.
Yeah.
And if you skip across the street, the news just came out that the town just signed a new land lease with WS Development for the Kmart Plaza. Cape Town Plaza is what it's officially known as,
Right.
but it will be known as the landing at Hyannis going forward once that project gets developed by WS.
Okay.
WS is a renowned developer, and they've done projects like Legacy Place and Derby Street up in Hingham.
Yeah.
And we're pretty excited about the long-term prospects for that as a lifestyle center development with that developer.
Right.
So.
Why don't we just back up a little here? So, you know, Route 132 has been the retail corridor for 30-something years now in the town of Barnstable. What's the significance of kind of upgrading that? It's been an aging corridor, you know, starting with this very large bank. You know, Cape Cod 5 is one of the larger regional banks out there that has grown exponentially over the years. They chose Barnstable for their new headquarters. You know, what significance of that is in economic development?
Sure. Well, Hyannis is the hub of Cape Cod in a lot of ways.
Right.
Specifically as it relates to economic development, we really are centrally located, and we actually have the ability to attract these kind of businesses here, both regional banks and national retailers,
Right.
and everything in between. The great thing about the Cape Cod 5 project is that it's happening out in a section of 132 that we're now referring to as the financial district, because organically that's growing in that regard. And I think it's because of its access to exit 6 off Route 6, so clients can come regionally to those financial institutions and get easy access to that. Further down on 132, it's always that area has been known more as a retail corridor with our 4 major shopping centers there. And as I said, we can attract national tenants into that. So that area of Hyannis, from a retail perspective, is more for the bigger stores. Not to say that that's strictly, but that it tends to draw on a regional basis, as opposed to downtown, which can draw more mom-and-pop type businesses with that walking type environment that smaller businesses want to have.
Right. And let's go back to a term that you used. I'm not sure everybody is familiar with it, a lifestyle center. Give us an indication of what that kind of means.
Sure. So a lifestyle center is more than just a strip mall.
Okay.
More than just a shopping plaza. The traditional 70s model is long gone now. And so lifestyle center is more where they would encompass within the campus of that facility, of that area. Not only retail, restaurants, other type of amenities for people to bring them there. Personal services, but also maybe some outdoor attractions that the facility might be able to attract in there. Whether it's music related, things like yoga, public amenities included in that. So not just a a bunch of parking spaces.
Right. Well, I know I'm familiar with Derby Street, and there's outdoor places that you can eat, and there's things that you can do. I think there's actually in one section there's a small little playground that people can use. Burn off some of that energy for the kids in the back to school shopping.
Exactly, exactly. And NWS has some good visions for what they want to see happen in that area. So as that project gets developed, I think you're going to see much more inviting environment than you see what it is currently when it's nothing but hot tops and,
Right.
and parking spaces. So,
Excellent. And we're still on Route 132. Independence Park
Yep.
has been growing by leaps and bounds.
sure, sure. Commercially speaking, obviously that is our industrial park. It has been since the 60s. Cape Cod Potato Chips is one of our bigger employers in town, especially for manufacturing. Obviously, it's a very iconic business as well. And the thing that they are most known for locally here is their visitor tours. And so they spent some good money in totally renovating that facility to enhance the experience for visitors to come in, to watch the potato chips in action. As most people know, if you turn around the back of a potato chip bag from Cape Cod Potato Chips, you'll see the factory right there with the map and everything on how to get there. They bring in somewhere around 240,000 visitors a year into that facility.
Wow.
And it was recently purchased by Campbell Soup, and they wanted to really enhance this particular tour experience. So
Fantastic. Downtown Hyannis, my love. There's so many cool shops, awesome restaurants, things to do. What's going on downtown?
sure. Downtown's got pretty dynamic this time of year, as you know. But on the periphery of downtown, we have an exciting project that was just completed, which is over on Yarmouth Road, south of 28, and it's a dermatology center. That one has just been completed and really has enhanced that particular neighborhood. Sort of rising tide situation we anticipate happening in that area with that. Most of the other development we see downtown will be residential.
Yeah.
We're seeing some mixed use, good mixed use project that we're seeing underway right now is the 255 Main, which is the old Furman building right across from the train station. That's a Cape built development. That's going to be commercially on the first floor, about 4,000 square feet, with 10 residential units up above. So it's that mixed use top of shop housing that we're really trying to get as infill for downtown. Cape Built is also the ones that residentially are going to be developing the project on Pleasant Street known as Sea Captain's Row. That's going to be a pocket neighborhood where this neighborhood had been run down. A lot of parking lots for ferry purposes. Now it's going to be redeveloped, and that's underway right now with Cape Built, and that's going to be 60 residential units, market rate rentals.
Wow, 60, huh?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We all know that we need housing, but I have to tell you that we need dermatology services on Cape
Absolutely.
Cod as well. So
Absolutely.
that's a welcome thing for sun lovers that have realized that we should have used sunscreen when we were 10.
Exactly.
You've got some village stuff too.
Sure. Osterville,
Yeah.
very exciting project, which you're well aware of. Amy Bakery.
Right.
Amy took a rundown garage and did a demo rebuild of that property, and has built a beautiful state-of-the-art bakery and a cooking school attached to it as well. That is on the outskirts of downtown Osterville Center. And I think it's really been an incredible enhancement to that area. We also
Got to
have,
try the donuts.
we also have a few projects that are in the permitting process. They have not been approved yet that I would like to make note of. Joe Laham is looking to do a car washes. A lot of people are aware of. I originally looked at North Street and is now looking at as well as Yarmouth Road to see if the project could work in that area. So he's going through the process now, but this again not having been approved yet. But that's one project that's happening, and that's end of town. If you go over to Bierce's Way, there's a proposal to put a tractor supply company on Bierce's Way. That Tractor Supply is probably one of the largest growing national chains in the country from a retail perspective.
Yeah.
Would be a welcome addition if, again, assuming approval.
Right.
These aren't approved yet. And then also at the Staples Plaza, where Mitchell's restaurant used to be with the VFW, there's a proposal to build a Walgreens and a Dunkin' Donuts and a third building, which hasn't been named yet as to who the occupant would be of that. Again, this is in a permitting process, not approved at this point.
Right. Well, you need a Dunkin' Donuts on every corner.
We do live in New England.
We do live in New England, right? We run on Dunkin'.
We need our Dunkies, absolutely.
Awesome. And with all of this new retail, we're going to have an influx of employees and things that are happening in our office buildings. Housing, always probably one of the hottest topics we have, not just in the town of Barnstable, but the entire region. What's going on for housing in Barnstable?
Sure. Housing is critical to economic development, and right now we're going through a housing crisis. It certainly is inhibiting a lot of things as far as potential development and businesses locating here, because you need to house your employees, and so that's a challenge that we face. And we're really trying to encourage all sorts of mixed type developments, everything from single family detached to multifamily, trying to get more creative with this process and look more about more creative forms for housing. I mentioned the Sea Captain's Row project, which is going to be downtown in development, in construction right now, as along with 255 Main. That's 70 units right there between the two of those. Out on Ridgewood, there's two projects that have been approved. One is done. The other has not been constructed yet. One is owned by Housing Assistance Corp., which will be a mix of affordable and market rate rentals. Another project was another 8 units, residential units for rent at market rate on the other end of Ridgewood Ave. And then out in the industrial park, people who drive through there will see a big change with the residentially speaking, most notably the Everly Cape Cod project, which is now, actually our grand opening is happening. I don't know what our calendar date is today,
Right.
but is about to happen, and that's 230 units for active adults, 55 plus community, which there's a demand for that as well. So we're trying to hit both ends of the spectrum there as it relates to housing.
Right. Well, housing, it sometimes seems to be that, there's an affordable with a big A or affordable with a little a. But really what it comes down to is lifestyle housing, because some young professionals, not married yet, really just do need that apartment, those studio areas. They like to walk to work or be, in the hub of the area, right up through somebody who has an empty nest, needs to not want to mow their lawn anymore, and wants that housing that's a little bit more secure for them, which that 55 plus really does.
Sure. Housing stock needs are changing. People's lifestyles are changing. People want smaller units for the most part. Families are getting smaller. Families are starting later. Got millennials that have their own thoughts on how they want to live and what kind of units they want to live in. Right. Don't necessarily need huge units to live in. Don't necessarily want to live in suburban style living or single family detached, which Cape Cod primarily is. So we're trying to change that mix, as much as we can here, because I think increased density is one of the answers to smart growth as far as residential is concerned, but also maybe form-based. That would be something that would be fitting within the Cape Cod look.
There's just so much going on. Where can people get some updates? I know you guys have a website.
Sure. We have a business website called businessbarnstable.com.
Right.
That's our separate website from the town's website. Just makes it a little easier for people if they want to focus on looking for business information, whether that's new projects coming in, whether that's how to open a business here in town. It's a pretty thorough, but I think easily navigable website for people to get into.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Well, thanks for having me.